Hello, dear Scorpio. I want to take a moment to sit with you in the quiet of your soul and speak directly to the part of you that has been waiting for a message like this. Because what is unfolding for you now is not just another passing phase or a casual cosmic whisper. It is a profound turning point written in the stars. A Sunday unlike any other. A moment that truly only comes once in a lifetime. For so long, you have carried yourself through the world with a certain armor. A mask you crafted carefully to protect the most tender parts of your heart. And though this mask has helped you survive and even thrive in places where you felt misunderstood or unappreciated, this coming Sunday, the universe will not allow it to remain in place any longer. The weight of what you have hidden, the truth of what you have silenced, will rise to the surface. And like a mirror held to your very soul, you will see yourself stripped of pretenses, stripped of roles, stripped of the performance that has so often defined how others see you. This is not a punishment, Scorpio. It is a revelation. And though the process may feel raw and unsettling, it is also the beginning of something miraculous. Because when the old walls crumble, when the mask finally falls away, what emerges is the unshakable authenticity of your spirit, the real you who no longer needs to be perfect to be loved, the real you who shines not because others expect it, but because it is your very nature to radiate power and depth. And as we move forward, I will show you how this day does not mark an ending, but the opening of a new chapter, a sacred passage where Scorpio finally steps into a life aligned with truth, freedom, and the kind of love that requires nothing in return. Scorpio. When we speak of collapse, it can sound frightening, as if something within you is being destroyed without hope of return. But the truth is more sacred than that. What is collapsing now is not your essence, not your brilliance, not the immortal fire that has always burned in your depths. It is only the shell you built to survive. The heavy armor you wore for so long that it began to feel like your skin. This Sunday, the universe will place its hand upon that armor, and you will feel the cracking, the breaking, the undeniable weight of everything you no longer need. For years, you have been the one who holds the secrets, the one who walks into the storm without flinching, the one who others look at and say, they are unbreakable. And yet in the silence of your own heart, you know the cost of this role. You know the exhaustion of being the strong one, the reliable one, the one who endures betrayal, loss, and disappointment without ever showing the full measure of your pain. The old self that is collapsing is the version of you who believed love had to be earned through loyalty that never wavers, the sacrifice that never ends, silence that swallows every unspoken need. On this Sunday, the mask you wear in front of others, the mask of control, of composure, of infinite resilience will shatter. And when it does, you may feel naked, exposed, uncertain of who you are without the performance of power. You may even feel a kind of mourning, as though you are losing a familiar companion, even if that companion was only a cage. But remember this, Scorpio collapse is not the end of you. It is the breaking of chains that were never meant to bind you in the first place. The universe will test you by showing you which people stay when you reveal your vulnerability and which ones quietly step away when you are no longer serving as their unshakable pillar. This truth will cut deeply, for it will confirm your oldest fear that you are loved not for who you are, but for what you provide. And yet, in that sharp ache lies the sacred medicine. Because once you see clearly who cannot love you without your mask, you will also see who can, and those rare souls will love you more deeply, more purely, than you have ever known. Scorpio, this collapse is not chaos for the sake of chaos. It is divine order rearranging your life. stripping away illusions, burning down false identities so that the real you may rise unashamed. The old self dies not in disgrace, but in sacrifice, so that your true self may finally breathe, unguarded and whole. And in the next part, we will explore how this fall becomes the gateway to awakening, the first step toward miracles that are waiting for you on the other side of surrender. Scorpio. After the collapse comes the silence, and in that silence, a strange and luminous awakening begins to take root within you. It is not the kind of awakening that arrives with trumpets or thunder. It comes softly, like dawn spilling its first light across the horizon after the longest night. When the old self falls, it leaves behind a clearing, an empty space where illusions no longer crowd your vision. And in that emptiness, your soul finally has the room to breathe. This Sunday marks that moment, the instant when your inner world begins to stir with the pulse of something new, something miraculous, something that has been waiting patiently behind the walls you just tore down. For the first time in a long time, you will feel the child within you stir, the part of you who only wanted to be seen without judgment, loved without condition, and held without expectation. That child has been buried under layers of duty, control, and relentless strength. But as the mask falls, you will hear their laughter echo softly within you. Fragile at first, then growing stronger. This is the miracle. Scorpio, you are awakening not into a new identity, but into your original essence. The one that was always there beneath the scars and the silence. Do not mistake this awakening for perfection. Because miracles are not about being flawless, they are about being real. You will notice small shifts, tender yet profound moments when you no longer force yourself to smile when your heart aches. Moments when you allow your tears to flow without apology. Moments when you admit you are uncertain and discover that uncertainty is not weakness, but truth. Each of these moments is a spark of awakening, a reminder that your humanity is your strength, not yo. And as you step into this awakening, you will feel the world around you begin to respond differently. The people who remain will see you more clearly, not as an untouchable force of control, but as a living, breathing, feeling soul, and they will love you for it. Opportunities will appear where doors were once shut. Because the universe always conspires to bless authenticity, your energy will shift, calmer yet more magnetic, radiant, not from performance but from presence. Scorpio. This is the beginning of miracles, the quiet unfolding of a life that no longer asks you to sacrifice yourself to be worthy of love. Ahead lies the rebirth, the sacred moment when this awakening solidifies into a new timeline, when you step fully into the life you were destined for. But before that, allow yourself to rest in this dawn, to marvel at the first light of your own truth. Because from this moment on, everything changes. Scorpio. The moment you have been unconsciously preparing for has finally arrived, the rebirth, the first breath of a self no longer weighed down by masks or chains. If the collapse was the earthquake and the awakening the dawn, then this rebirth is the rising sun itself, pouring golden fire into every corner of your being. You are no longer the shadowed figure carrying other people's burdens in silence. You are stepping onto a new timeline where your light belongs first and foremost to you, and from that fullness, it radiates outward effortlessly. This rebirth is not a return to who you once were. It is the unveiling of who you were always meant to be. Every betrayal that once pierced you, every disappointment that hollowed your chest, every long night when you wondered if anyone could truly love the depths of your soul, all of it was part of the labor that brought you here. And now, like a phoenix rising from the ashes of its own undoing, you stand, transformed, stronger, not because you deny your pain, but because you carry it with reverence as proof of your resilience. On this new timeline, Scorpio, your choices shift. No longer do you choose relationships where you must prove your worth. You choose the ones that already recognize it. No longer do you accept work that drains your spirit. You align with paths that honor your genius. No longer do you silence your emotions for the comfort of others. You speak them gently but firmly, and in doing so, you attract souls who value your honesty. Each decision you make from this reborn state builds the foundation of a life more aligned, more abundant, more free. There will be moments when the old self whispers, moments of nostalgia for the familiar patterns that once defined you, but they are nothing more than echoes fading into the distance. Your task now is not to run back to them out of habit, but to anchor yourself in the pulse of your new reality. Every time you choose authenticity over performance, you solidify this rebirth. Every time you choose self-respect over compromise, you affirm your new timeline. And Scorpio, what waits for you on this path is nothing short of miraculous relationships that nourish rather than consume, opportunities that expand instead of confine, and a love for yourself so deep that it becomes unshakable. The unbreakable core around which your entire life is restructured. This is not just survival, it is creation. It is destiny. It is the sacred act of becoming fully who you are. For those born between October 23rd and November 1st, the wound that rises is your fear of betrayal in love. The suspicion that if you allow your heart to be fully visible, if you let someone past your armor, they will eventually abandon you or wound you in the place you are most tender. This Sunday becomes the moment when you are invited to release that fear, to step into vulnerability and discover that intimacy is not always a gateway to loss, but can be a doorway to being chosen exactly as you are. For Scorpios born between November 2nd and November 12th, the truth comes through the realm of work and responsibility, where you have silently carried burdens heavier than your own, taking on too much to prove your worth and sacrificing your inner peace to hold everything together. The universe is asking you now to put those weights down, to remember that your value is not written in exhaustion or self-sacrifice, but in your presence, your insight, and your ability to move with depth and authenticity. And for those born between November 13th and November 22nd, the revelation is about the dreams you buried long ago, the visions and passions you pushed aside so that others could thrive. You have been the guardian of everyone else's ambitions, the supporter of other people's journeys. And in doing so, your own soul's calling has been left in the shadows. This Sunday is the moment to reclaim those lost parts of yourself, to breathe life back into your own desires, and to honor your sacred right to pursue what truly ignites you. When woven together, these threads reveal one truth, Scorpio. You are standing at the threshold of a spiritual revolution, a rebirth that strips away illusion and returns you to yourself. This is not about living for the gaze of others or proving your worth through loyalty and sacrifice. It is about embodying the power, passion, and love that have always been within you. This turning point is the beginning of a new life where you are free to be whole, free to be vulnerable, free to love and to be loved without conditions. It is the moment when you no longer fear being seen, because at last, you truly see yourself. Scorpio, as we reach the closing of this sacred journey, I want you to pause and feel how far you have come in just these few moments of truth. The collapse of your old self was never meant to destroy you, it was designed to free you. The awakening that followed was not a fleeting glimpse of light, but the first breath of a new dawn, and now, standing within your rebirth, you are asked to carry one final message deep into your heart. You are already enough. You do not have to earn the right to be loved. You do not have to perform strength to be worthy, and you do not have to hide your shadows to belong. This is the beginning of a new way of living for you. Scorpio. From this moment forward, you are invited to walk into each day without apology, without disguise, and without fear of who might leave when they see the fullness of your truth, because those who remain, those who stand beside you when the mask has fallen, will be the souls who love you more deeply than you ever imagined possible. These are the connections that will nourish you, not drain you. These are the voices that will remind you of your worth when you forget. These are the mirrors that will reflect your beauty back to you, not as performance, but as essency. Remember this, always your intensity is not too much. Your depth is not a burden, and your vulnerability is not weakness. They are your greatest treasures, the qualities that make you magnetic, unforgettable, and profoundly human. This new chapter is not about becoming someone else. It is about finally becoming the person you were born to be before fear and expectation built walls around your heart. So, Scorpio, as you step into this timeline, take a breath and know that you are free. Free to love without fear. Free to create without hesitation. Free to shine without restraint. This Sunday marks not the end of a cycle, but the birth of a destiny that was written for you long before you doubted your worth. Embrace it, because the universe is ready, the path is open, and your soul is waiting to live fully, fiercely, and unapologetically as itself.